First portion you're going to see is Father Hess, who is a Catholic priest in town, instrumental in the building of the Catholic school. Next you see the public grade school and then the public high school. Then you see some shots of the Masonic temple. Here are a couple of short scenes of a man, later a woman. I don't know their significance, who they are, or why they're in here. After this lady gets through tending her flowers, soon you're going to see a picture of the American Legion Hall as it used to exist. It was on West Madison Street, the west side, the south side of the road, by the river. Next to the river was a meat market, and back, the building next to it, coming back, was the American Legion Hall. Took up half the space that the professional building now exists on. Here's a nice segment on the Waterloo Cheese Factory. Alfred Foyt's and his father shows a guy unloading these milk cans back before the days of bulk milk equipment. They were milk was hauled around in cans like that, 80 pounds to a can. There's a picture of Alfred Foyt's, and soon you'll see his father there with him. They operated that building on the corner of Cleveland and Henry Street for many, many years. Now you will see the Skolitsky Feed, Seed, and Radio Store on North Monroe Street on the east side of the road. Building still stands. Radio, it may seem funny, that combination, but radio was very important in those days. There was no television, remember. And so you're going to see Lawrence Skolitsky, probably Lawrence on the right, I'm guessing, and his father. And here is the shoe factory, later to be known as the Mid-States Shoe Factory. I'm not sure what the name was back then, but there's quite a segment in here on the shoe factory. Now, the shoe factory employed a lot of people. I'm going to guess a couple hundred. You're going to see some pictures of the machinery and the equipment inside and the workers inside the factory. A lot of people liked their job there for whatever reason. It would seem tedious to me, but it was a piecework job, which in those days meant that you got paid by your performance, and you as an individual got paid for your performance. You're going to see all the people soon coming out of work, along with a few of the management people, and so I'll just be quiet and let you watch. It must have been raining this day as they come out of work. You'll notice they're really hustling, and some of them are grabbing jackets and umbrellas and so on. But you'll see a lot of people. I don't recognize any faces, unfortunately. Next, you're going to see a long shot of the Waterloo Malt House. And quickly following that, you're going to see a picture of the swinging bridge. There used to be a dam just east of the Malt House, and that swinging bridge, as you'll see, is right over top of that dam. We used to really enjoy going across that swinging bridge. It bounced as you walked across it. It was quite an attraction. We used to do some fishing up in that neck of the woods. Here are the workers kind of showing off. They were allowed to drink beer during their breaks and after work right there on premises. Of course, they made malt for beer, so it would only be natural. You'll see the guy on the second from the right is Bob Zimbrick, emptying out his bottle of beer. And there's Bert Hale, who's the guy that's running the place at the time. Followed quickly here by Ed Langer. That's Ed Langer as Bert puts him back to work. I have no idea who this next gentleman might be, but he must have been important to be in the film. The next scene will be of the Standard gas station, which is down on the corner of South Jackson and West Madison, where the BP station is today. You'll notice the Perry building, the brand new Perry building, is in the background of this shot. You'll also notice that the guy that's taking care of the customer here is quite sure this is Kenny Hulseater. You'll notice the coin changers that he has on his side. In those days, you didn't even get out of the car. You stayed in the car, you paid your money, they cleaned the windshield, they checked the oil and the water and filled up with gas, and you went on your way. You never got out of the car. That's not called self-service, that's called service. Here's a very short section showing some laundry be delivered to the toggery, and following that, you're going to see the funeral home down there on South Washington Street, same location that it still is, owned by Walter Schwant at that point in time. There's a funeral home and the hearse. What a magnificent automobile at that point in time. There's going to be another quick view of St. Joseph's School taken from the south side of the school. A quick view of a lady driving her bicycle up South Jackson Street, and we quickly then move to Waterloo Fuel and Supply, the Woodruff people that own this place of business on the east side of town. Most of this segment or portion is showing them working with coal. As mentioned earlier in this Waterloo 1938, most of the houses in Waterloo were heated by coal, and that meant a lot of coal coming into town. This building and complex is on Pierce Street. The gal there is probably Wilma Woodruff. We don't know for sure, but Wilma later on got involved in everything from politics to being the head secretary at the Malt House and so forth. There's a scene coming up in here where they're watering down the coal. They used to deliver the coal to the houses and dump it into a chute that went right down into the basement through a basement window. In doing so, there was a heck of a lot of coal dust that would filter throughout the house, black coal dust. So before they delivered the coal, they'd water it down to kind of knock the dust down as best they could. And the scene coming up here, you'll see a guy with a hose up there watering down the coal. Just following this, you're going to see another blacksmith shop. This one, we think, is a blacksmith shop on the main street, right where the bank sits today. And quickly, here's another view of City Hall, taken this time from the east side of town as they come to the downtown district. Then there will be a couple of quick shots of North Monroe Street, first facing to the north, then facing to the south. And soon we go to South Monroe Street, go through the Four Corners, South Monroe Street, and the first thing that the scene here is going to show is the Wentz store. Currently owned by the VFW, and VFW have owned it for a number of years, but that's the Wentz store. And as they show the people, you're going to see Bill and Bernice Went on the right. Bill and Bernice Went. The next scene is going to be the blacksmith shop, this time probably on the south end of South Monroe Street. Later on operated by Reuben Miller, we are guessing at that. And soon, last but not least, the Waterloo Community Building, which was really something in its day. Still a sore spot among some people in Waterloo, as the city ended up selling that thing. And now it pretty much sits empty and practically in ruins. The last segment, the last portion of this is the beginning of the Waterloo Mill episode, which will be followed as you get on into segment 5. Waterloo Mill at the end of Mill Street.